Hello, welcome back to Altus Millionaire Club. I'm your host, Jane. Today, we have this very interesting topic called finding your own money. Let me share my presentation so we can go over this. Let's find your money. I want to do a quick disclaimer, not a CPA, not a licensed attorney, not an estate attorney. So no legal, financial, or tax advice. Let's figure out something about how to find your money. Isn't that exciting? There is a wake-up call. Now it's the tax season again. I just posted a new post about January 26, 2026. That's the first day IRS can accept tax returns for 2025. The personal income tax bill is probably the highest of the tax bill we are paying. There's all the other tax bills. When we go buy stuff, we have sales tax. When we purchase the property under our name, we have to pay the property tax. But the personal income tax, probably percentage-wise, will be the highest we are paying. If you are in a really high income earner, the 37% is the top. And if you live in California, New York, that's another high, low tens or even 10.5%. So we want to do a so-called leakage diagnosis, a leak test. We want to treat this your own financial picture, this cash flow, income, your expenses, how much you're doing investment, how much tax you're paying, and all the other expenses. If you do a forensic audit, I bet 9 out of the 10, you will be able to identify at least 100 to 1,000 monthly recurring charge, which you will not even use. There's a third party, they can actually act on your behalf to negotiate with any of the recurring companies to negotiate a lower price, such as your cell phone bill, your internet bill, and all the others. Right now, all the AI tools, there's all the subscription we have to pay. The tax inefficiencies we mentioned, 30 to 40 or even sometimes 50% will go back to Uncle Sam. And the money you lose, remember, that's the tax money you pay out. If you can figure out a way to keep some of them, there might not be a possibility to keep all of them unless you're really in the top 1%. A lot of the gurus said, hey, I'm paying close to 0% of my income tax. There might be a way, but at least we want to keep as much as possible. When we have the money, we'll find a way to set up our own structure, the banking structure. I was always talking about how to become your own bank. Pull the money into your own bank and then pull that out to do lending, to do flipping, to do all the other alternative investment as well. I call it financial baseline tax rate. I want to know how much we are bringing as a household, how much we are spending on yearly basis, quarterly basis, and monthly basis. So you have your income streams. With this tax drag, it's actually a really loss in returns, which some of the money, if you could keep it, then it can create a much better return for you. Don't forget there's the inflation, although the official numbers are not that high. It varies a little bit, but you definitely feel it. Your money is losing its buying power so rapidly, especially for certain merchants. We are just using a standard 6 to 8%. If you Google the 2025 inflation, I think you will see a much lower number. But we all agree our buying power is diminishing. Why we want to be our own bank? The traditional bank, we bank with those banks. We put our hard-earned money to checking or saving, or we borrow money from the bank to pay our mortgage. And then the bank, they are profiting from our money, which we pay. If you have a saving account, say you have a 10,000 there, they are lending that 10,000 as a pool to find their customers, and they're lending it out and get 6% to even higher, 10% of the interest from those customers. Why don't we shift it? We want to be the bank. And then we flip the banking function. We will do the exact same thing. We'll go out and find so-called customers. They will pay us as the bank. You can see if you flip the function and your money is growing. And that's why the core of this bold method is start with the bank. Bank, ownership, leverage, and discipline. Your money will grow if you have multiple banks and you pump the money into the banks and lend the money out to grow your bank. The velocity banking strategy, most of the people, we do 30-year. You could do 5-year ARM, you could do 15-year mortgage. But the 30-year mortgage itself, if you were just paying, if you were doing the refi when the interest was really low, at one time, I believe the interest went down somewhere 2.625%. And now it's somewhere around 6.5%. But we are paying that 30 years. If you have only one mortgage, you think that money isn't too expensive. But if when you have 5, 10, 20, 50 of those kind of mortgages, it climbs up your interest every single year. The amount interest you are paying will be a significant number. What we want to do is we want to use the velocity banking concept to start paying your early so you can save a significant amount of interest. Remember, the 30-year mortgage is a promissory note. You sign up with your bank and whatever the term you have to obey. But most of the case, there should be no prepayment penalty. So in that case, you can get your interest paid in a small amount compared to a regular 30-year mortgage. If you suppress your number of years to pay that off, and interest you saved is your money. So that's another way you could find your money. Take a look how many mortgages on monthly or yearly basis, how much interest. Every single mortgage will have two portions, the principal and the interest. Tally the interest up and see how much you are paying. Other people's money accelerator. So I mentioned this several occasions. You can access to the promo bonus for 0% APR. In most of the case, you can get 18 months, sometimes 12 months, sometimes 24 months, but most of the time, 18 months at 0% interest. The credit card companies, they want their money to be inflowing, right? They want to lend the money out and they gave you this promo period for 18 months. After that, they start charging. They start charging 20%, sometimes 28, 32%, 34%. Some percentage of people will not be able to pay whatever you spend from that credit. And that's how the credit card companies or banks, they are making money. When we know how we could utilize those credit, we actually can really accelerate our wealth accumulation. In this case, we're using their money. Yes, there's a leverage. Not everybody is willing to take the risk of doing the leverage. Don't over leverage. But to some extent, which you are comfortable and you know what you're doing, it can be a good tool to really supercharge the speed of wealth accumulation. So we want to become the owner. We control the banking function instead of being controlled by it. We be the bank. We are the bank. We define how much interest we're charging. We define how we deploy how much money to who and how we can get the interest we're charging to that customer back to our bank. So we are completely flipping the banking function of a regular person. The wealth accumulation train, we need to inspect the engine, and the tax drag can be significant. If you're talking about 30 to 50% of the money, use that money inside and make it compound and earn interest can make a huge difference versus you have to just pay it back to Uncle Sam. Check the fuel lines, find the leaks, other fees, and inflations. Also, the unused subscriptions every single month. Those are the fuel lines you have to check for the leaks. We want to optimize the energy, which every ounce or every dollar we drive is towards to our tax-free millionaire status. There's a quality engine work. The framework is right there. We want to protect the wealth. We want to have this quality engine, which we talk about PDCA circle, plan, do, check. A lot of times it can be done by quarterly basis or yearly basis. The banking arsenal is the core of the both method. The CAPA framework, corrective action, preventive action. It can really help us to diagnose and stop sources of any leakages and make the corrective action respond to any kind of leaks or unforeseen situations. We integrate everything together in this spiraling wheel, and then your money is growing inside at a fast speed. We want to stop the bleeding and start building tax drag, inflation loss, and then the monthly money leaks. if we can get everything nailed out, we are in the right path for the financial freedom we all look for. The last one, know your numbers. Minimize the share to Uncle Sam, especially if you have traditional accounts where the dollar in is not taxed. All the growth is tax deferred, but when you start using the money, every single dollar is taxed. That's not the worst. The worst is you do not know the tax rate when you start tapping into the money, and you have to pay the tax of every single dollar you're accessing from that account. And there's no way around it. So let's try to map out the plan to see how you could pay less to Uncle Sam, shift into self-directed Roth account, and pave your way to tax-free millionaire status. Book a call with me, and hopefully next time we'll do a live and you can participate and ask some questions. I hope this content is helpful for you. Subscribe, like, and comment to my YouTube channel, and also the Altus Millionaire Club school community, SKOOL. Don't let the bank fool you. Be the bank and start accumulating wealth today. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.